Hello everyone, third video of the day. Wow. In this video we are going to be taking a look at a scenario where there is a continent in the North Atlantic in my alternative future of the world. If you can tell by these colours, World War V is about to go down. Oh wait, if you haven't seen the series, go watch it. This is very important. This isn't important, this is a random thing, but the actual, go watch the actual series. It's very fun. So yeah. Why am I putting just a random continent in the North Atlantic? Why not? I didn't have a better idea for a video. Well, I could do Minecraft, but that would probably take too long, and I'd rather not be recording for so long. Because like I said, this is the third one today. Also, I slightly changed the grading again. Anyways, let's get on with this. So, the fact that there's a continent here. Some nations are a bit surprised, such as the Western European Union, Algeria, Mauritania, all of the Caribbean, and the US, as well as the USSR. And now that a whole continent just randomly appeared, nations are just gonna agree not to fight, just to figure out what the hell just happened. And because of that, World War V is cancelled. Yeah, it's being postponed to next week. But yeah, now we just have a random continent in the Northern Atlantic. And what does that mean? It means that we can actually see some more colonization apart from this. So, oh yeah, I forgot about these colors. That's annoying. So, let me just... What? Let me just... What the hell? Why can I not color it in? I don't think I've selected anything, so why can... Oh, I'm dumb. I've colored it in white. I'm an idiot. Anyways, yeah, ignoring the fact I'm just going to be fixing this, let's go onto the colored layer, because that's going to be more important, because we can actually tell what's going to be what. So let's get on with this. The first nation to be making a claim is going to be the European Union. And they're going to be making two claims. One over here by Iberia, that will be looking something like this. No, that was weird. That will be looking something like this. And a second one up here near Great Britain, that'll be looking something like this. So there we go. Let me just colour those in the good old colour of the European Union. There we go. That's the first nation to make a claim. Not the only nation, though. The next nation to make a claim is going to be the British, or the English. And their claim will be looking like this. So there we go. Well, once again, that's not going to be the only nation, because look at the size of the continent. And look at how many nations can feasibly make can make a claim. Let me tell you. Quebec, the US, Florida, Cuba, the US again, Venezuela, Brazil, right? Nigeria, Mauritania, Western Sahara, Morocco. So many nations can make claims, and it would make sense. Hell, Denmark, Greenland, Iceland. So let's start to see even more colonization. The next areas that are going to be colonized by the USA. And they are going to be claiming lands that will be looking something like this. As well as little territory down here. So there we go. And if I just color that in, it will look like bing, bap, bam, bop, and bing, and bam, bam. So there we go. That's a pretty large claim, larger than I'm pretty sure England in general. So yeah, but once again, not the only nation to get claims. So let's go back to North America. Still in North America. So let's go back to the other North American nations. Quebec is going to be making a landing, and it will be a pretty large claim, as they will be claiming all the land up to here. And Greenland will be basing their claim off the borders of Quebec. Just imagine that there's like, I don't know, just imagine that there's like a river here, I don't know. So they will be basing their claim, and it will be looking like this. So if I can just color in both claims, Quebec will be gaining these pieces of land, looking like this. And Greenland will be gaining, Greenland, Brownland will be gaining these pieces of territory. I say Brownland because I think you can figure out why. They are very brown, not very green. Anyways, that is temporarily what North America is going to look like. Let's go back to Europe and see what these borders are going to continue to look like. We are going to be seeing the Icelandics make a few little landings. One here, another here, and lastly one here, looking like this. And if I just color these landings in, it will look like that. Next, we're going to be seeing the first expansion of a claim, and it will be by the European Union. I know you said the Europeans, which technically it is by the Europeans. And it will actually be a division by the Europeans. And this is going to be a bit like a treaty. The Europeans can claim anything, well, the Europeans can currently claim anything up to this, looking like this. And they're going to start to take that, as the European Union is going to be claiming lands that look something like this. The English are going to be claiming lands that look something like this. And then the European Union is also going to get all of this. But, wait, no, forgot about that one. There we go. That's right, England has a very long piece of territory. And if I just color everything in, that, boom. Then this territory here, boom. And lastly, England, there we go. So yeah, now that we have a couple claims made, we're going to start to see people move on to this area, which is quite surprising, as no one really knows what it's like here. But to be fair, my chair made a noise. Let me just quickly like explain what the terrain of Atlantis is. These areas in the yellow, that are outlined in yellow, are quite deserty. So, like, these areas are very deserty. Like this. The areas that are dense jungles are this. And this. As well as territories over here. And a little plain or little area over here. And then there's a couple mountains over the place. One here, looking like this. One here. And one here, which is mainly why the Quebec people from what I don't know what Quebec people are called. I suppose like Quebec or something. I was like candy corn. Sounds like candy corn. I cannot English today. To be fair, these guys aren't English, so that makes sense. Anyways, yeah. That is a quick, just brief explanation of what the Atlantis, stuff's like. Anyways, let's do some more colonization, because that's fun. A few nations are going to be making landings. One is going to be Florida, who's going to be making a very large coastal landing. And the next is going to be Venezuela, who's going to be making a landing right here. That's the Americans. Going over to Africa, we're going to be seeing Western Sahara make a very long colony. And we're going to be seeing something else happen. We're going to be seeing a war take place between Morocco and Algeria. Because Algeria has basically no, land at the Atlantic. Because Morocco is trying to blockade this. So, yeah. Yeah. So after that, it's just going to be full annexation, looking like this. And I'm not going to get rid of the capital because I'm too lazy. So there we go, that is what that's going to look like. And then the Algerians can finally make their landing. And their landing is going to be looking like this. So yeah, if I just color all of that in, Algeria will have this. No. I'm going to have to redraw that line, which is a little annoying. But I can make it look better. Algeria will be claiming this. So let me actually make sure that I'm on the right layer, which I am. I forgot I'm going to have to start pressing Control click again. So there we go. The Western Saharans are going to be claiming this long piece of territory. I forgot to press Control click again. This long piece of territory, including this island. And going over to here, Florida will be claiming this long strip of territory. And Venezuela will be claiming this. Trinidad and Tobago will have a little, like, very tiny claim. And it'll be looking like this, basically tripling their land size. Good job, Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, no, my God, I forgot. So yeah, Trinidad and Tobago will be getting this. So yeah, that is what that's going to look like so far. But a couple nations are going to be going to war to have better access to this. And the nations that are going to be going to war are probably not nations that you're going to expect. The nations that are going to be going to war are Nigeria and Mauritius. No, Mauritania. And be honest, who do you think is going to win this? Yeah, I thought so. And Nigeria is going to be just fully annexing this, looking like this. So there we go. And I am sharing my screen. Yep. Going away from that, they are going to be making a colony, or a few colonies actually. And no, I forgot to change. Oh, I forgot. There we go. I fixed it. We are going to be seeing them make a few colonies, all decently sized. And they're all going to be looking roughly quite blob-shaped, looking like this. So yeah, going away from that, it's going to be looking something like this. So yeah, if there's only a few areas left that can sort of like actually gain land, and those nations are not Florida, Brazil. Yeah, that's basically it, only Brazil. So yeah. Let's see what the last parts of expansion are going to look. You don't know, let's just look for what the division is going to look like, because after Brazil gains this little piece of territory, basically no other nation can gain land. So let's get on with this. Brazil is going to be making a colony right here, and after that, we're going to start to see the division of the continent. And let's see what it's going to be looking like. Let's go from north to south. So first of all, we're going to be doing up here. Greenland is going to be gaining all of this area, as well as all of this little chunk. So yeah. The Western European Union. No, sorry. The European Union. Sorry, because it has like a lot of Western Europe. All of Western Europe. They're going to be gaining that. And England is going to be gaining this. England's still up to their colonial ways. The European Union is going to be doing a pretty large amount of colonization, as they are going to be claiming land that is going all the way to over here. So yeah, that's a lot of land. Going over to here, Algeria is going to be claiming a little chunk of land. That's going to be looking like this. So there we go. And the Western Saharans are going to just be claiming little lands over here. Actually, no. Western Sahara is going to be claiming all of this. Why? I said so. So there we go. We're going to be seeing Nigeria connect up their colonies, first of all, looking like this. So there we go. And there we go. And lastly, there we go. That's right, straight lines are back. Oh, how I missed these. I lied. We don't even really have any straight lines left. Because, like, Africa's changed a decent chunk. Anyways, going away from that, let's go back to colonization. We are going to be seeing a little area down here get its little independence, being the only nation to keep its independence, or well, the only area to not be colonized. Count your days, little nation down here. Anyways, Brazil is going to keep up the trend of straight lines, as they're going to be making a colony that's going to be looking something like this. And Venezuela is very angry. And they're going to be claiming land like this, and they're going to be having a dispute with Brazil. The Americans are also going to be very angry. And because of that, long colony. Yeah. Florida is going to be taking as much land as they physically can. And the amount of land that they physically can is roughly up to this lake. So yeah. And lastly, I forgot about up here. Quebec is going to be gaining a lot of land. In fact, I'm going to be starting with that southern border down here. They're going to be gaining land that will be stretching on and we looking something like this, probably doubling, nearly tripling their colony size. The Americans are going to be claiming land that will be looking like this. And then the rest is just going to be split between Nigeria and Brazil, with Brazil gaining the lands over here, and the rest going over to Nigeria. So, let me just get that all coloured in real quick. This is done. I forgot to pause my music. Okay, it's done. How beautiful. Regarding this nation, I don't know if I should give them a colour. I'm not going to give them a colour for now. Anyways, I don't really know what to do now. So, just as fast as it began, let's see how decolonization would happen. This continent was brought, it was plopped down on the 1st of September 2095. Let's say this took 5 years, so now it is the 7th of March 2100. Let's start to see decolonization, because it will probably happen very fast. First of all, let's go over to the English colony. Also, I will not be doing C's. But first of all, let's go to the English colony. The English will be managing to keep a hold of a large amount of territory. Not large, but larger than they should. So those are the territories that they're going to keep. Regarding the rest, let me split it. We are going to be seeing these western portions, as well as slightly more southern portions, gain their independence, whereas the more central areas are going to be gaining their independence looking like this. And I'm going to be making the new nations white. Okay, good to know that there was a missing pixel. Saves me a click though. Paintbar click. Regarding the the European Union, they're going to be able to keep a larger portion of land, larger than Ireland and Scotland, I think, combined. Iceland's going to be able to keep all of theirs. And this territory is just going to get split into looking like this. Regarding Greenland, Greenland territory, it's going to get split into as well, with only this area getting independence, because this is staying under Greenland. So yeah. Going over here, I feel like I need to divide these guys a little bit more, so I'm going to be dividing these guys in two. Going away from this and going over to the Western European colony. Not close enough, it's off the coast of Western Europe. They are going to be able to keep a lot of territory. First of all, the territory up here is going to be remaining. And second of all, the territory down here is going to be remaining, looking like this. And regarding the rest, this area up here is going to be getting independence. This area down here is going to get separate independence, and this area down here is going to be also getting separate independence. So the nations will look like this, this, and combined this into this. So yeah. Or separate, I don't really care. Going further away, I completely forgot what the geography of this area looks like, so that's my bad. But considering it's a bit away from the coast, I'm gonna make them like small, like larger nations. I'm just gonna start drawing borders, and if it looks nice, then I'm just gonna keep it. If it doesn't look nice, then I'm gonna get rid of it. But to be fair, I do draw borders for what I do in my free time, so yeah. Just like any good European, I'm carving up borders. So yeah. This is probably gonna take a while because Western Europe is very. No, not Western Europe. The European Union has a lot of colonization. So yeah, I'd say over by the coast, there's probably gonna be far smaller nations. In fact, I'm gonna have a couple nations just showing this coast alone, looking like this. So there we go. Down here, a couple nations will be down here, looking like this, and then a decently sized nation looking like this, which is probably larger than these three combined. No, definitely larger than these three combined. Going away from that, a large chunk will gain independence here, and then it'll just get split into thirds, looking like this. And now I need to color all this in. How fun. I'm going to color in the areas around the area that's staying colonized. Okay, now I just need to color all of this in, looking like something similar to this. So yeah, already probably the most divided continent, if not second to Asia. So yeah, because there's already a bunch of nations here. Going away from that, the Quebec colony, a large portion of it's going to be staying. In fact, they're going to be keeping so much, it's going to be bordering one of the Western European. I said it again. One of the European Union colonies. In fact, they're also going to be able to keep a little land down here, looking like this. And all these islands that they own. Oh, also Greenland gets to keep this part of this island. So yeah. Anyways, let me start to divide up these areas. And these aren't going to be drawn really by anyone from Quebec. They're going to be drawn by people. I wouldn't really say native people because there's not going to be native people, but like people who moved here, it's going to be drawn up by them. So yeah, it's going to be drawn up by like different communities, and it's probably going to be like one of the only fair peace treaties, as some areas are going to want to unite together, while some are not going to want to. For example, there's going to be a small exclave right here. So that's pretty neat. And then there's going to be a small little microstate right here, who just wants to have their own independence. Which is pretty neat. So yeah. Probably the only microstate left, except like Brunei. Because the Vatican probably got invaded a long time ago. San Marino, I know, got invaded. And all the other ones are part of the EU. Oh wow, I said it right that time. So yeah. Anyways, going away from this, this is roughly what these borders are going to look like. Actually, let me just... There we go. These are what the borders are going to look like. Now I just need to color it all in white, which is going to take a sec. Yeah. There's a lot of nations now that I think about it. Probably definitely more than Asia, I think. So I'm starting to realize this little area looks a little like Texas. Go mini Texas. Live your dreams. Anyways, that is a large portion done. Let's continue. Just as the Brazilian colony is going to be getting decolonized, we are going to be seeing the Venezuelan colony invade it. So first of all, let me just get rid of these little areas here. And get rid of these, like, disputed territorial lines. If I can click on it right. There we go. So that's done now. And now I can draw this in. Because Brazil is going to be keeping some lands. It's not a lot, considering they don't really have very good access. they're going to be keeping a little piece of land right here, looking like this. Probably the smallest out of any one. So yeah. And the Venezuelan colony is going to be gaining a decent chunk of land. I was going to say decent and big. They're gaining a dig chunk of land. I hate when my land is dig. Anyways, yeah. And because of decolonization, this area is immediately going to get taken by another nation. So yeah, say hello to New Venezuela. I don't know. I'm not the one who makes the names. I'm just the one who makes the borders and also the names. So yeah. Anyways, like I said, Brazil, sorry, it took a sec to click. They are going to be keeping this. And the only nation to keep all of their colony is actually going to be Dominica. Screw you, Iceland. Yeah. So yeah. Those are the currently occupied, currently free lands. Let's go back to the rest of the Brazilian colony, because a lot of that is also going to get divided. We are going to be seeing another coastal nation get formed, looking like that. A more smaller, not quite coastal nation is going to be formed, and then just a few other smaller nations are going to get formed, looking like this. A couple nations are going to get formed out of straight lines, so there we go. Just got to include some good old European colony straight lines. So, looking like that. We're going to be seeing a pretty triangular nation, which is pretty cool if you like triangles, and pretty bad if you hate triangles. And going up to here, a large nation is going to be formed, a smaller nation is going to be formed, and that's just one nation. So yeah. Now we go to the Nigerian colony. Nigeria is not going to be gaining, or keeping much, I should say. Mainly only keeping those areas, this island over here, and this island. So let's start. First of all, this small nation over here is going to be getting a large land boost, probably like quintupling in size, maybe even more. Something like that. So yeah. Let me just color that in. There we go. Next, the rest of the colony. And Nigeria. Remembering what the Europeans did to them. They're going to be mad, and they are going to be doing many straight line borders. In fact, that's basically all they're going to be doing. So let me just draw in a good old straight line. So that's the first good old straight line. The next good old, not very good old, but the next straight line is going to be here, forming two nations. Wowee. The next one's going to form many nations. One here, and lastly, going up, we're going to be seeing the formation of a nation down here. So yeah, that one single-handedly formed like 4 or 5 nations. This little line is going to just form a weird-looking nation up here. And lastly, we're actually going to be seeing a fine one get formed. So looking like this. So there we go. Now let me just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to do this, just because they're going to not be keeping many pieces of land. So I generally just think that'll be quicker. There we go. Now we have 3 colonies left. The Floridian one, the American one, the American one. I forgot there were 2 American ones. So yeah, let's get on with this. We are going to be seeing the American one. Good to know that they're keeping a majority of it, or bad to know. I don't know. And regarding the rest, they're not even gonna bother making a nation, they're just gonna abandon it. Like, yeah, America's quite heartless in this scenario. And that might cause some nations to start to move away from the Americans. Oh well. And because this area got abandoned, they're gonna be seeking another area for help. None other than Florida. And Florida is going to help them set up a government, and they're going to give them some extra land, like this. And the Americans are going to be like, oh, look, we convinced the Floridians to give our colony some land. But the world doesn't really believe them. Even their allies don't believe them. Venezuela doesn't. The Italians don't. The Northern Iranians don't. The Moroccans are dead. So yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about over here, I think. Yeah, never mind, we have more colonies to do then. So yeah. Anyways, going away from this, more nations are going to get formed. One here, one up here, a long one, looking like that. Oh, also, Florida is going to be keeping just this little peninsula over here, and this area over here. The rest is fair game from everyone. So they just sort of let, like the, who did it? Like the Quebecians, or Quebecon, however. They're sort of just going to let them do whatever they want, although there's going to be some supervision so that nothing like this happens. Because this happens and they are going to kind of need to get rid of those borders. So instead of having it be like this, it would be more like this, more fancy. But still, a couple nations are going to be made here, right here, very small nations, but nations nonetheless. Looking like this. A decently large nation compared to the rest are going to be made here. A smaller one here. Another nation up here. A long nation. Okay, who the hell is revving the motorbike? Jesus Christ. Anyways, a nation here is going to be made. And lastly, this area is going to get split between whoever wants it. And the nations that will want it are going to end up splitting it like this. And like I did for the Nigerian colony, I'm going to be doing the same here. Just because they're going to be getting so much less land, it just makes sense. Looking like this. And lastly, well, not lastly, forgot about over here. Nearly lastly, oh god, the ocean's Floridian. We have the other American colony. And people are, like, other nations like Florida, the European Union, oh wow, I said it right that time, Greenland, Algeria, Nigeria, they're going to be sitting in the conference room, making sure that America doesn't take, okay, good to know that they're taking half their colony. No, that's not happening. The Europeans, the North Americans, South Americans, Africans, they aren't letting that happen. And, like, after a bit of an assassination, a bit of a slight change is going to be taking place, and it's going to be looking like this. A lot less land. Good to know that they're still taking land. Yeah, they're going to be taking a lot less land, but they're still going to be taking land, but a lot less land. And also applies to down here, where they are going to be doing this. And this president is going to openly acknowledge, hey, that old president was kind of a douche. So yeah, this is what's going to be gaining independence, for it makes sense to just color it in before. And now let's actually just get these borders. Line, another line, a fourth line, a third line, a fourth line, looking weird and whimsical. A long line going weird. And then just straight line, but not really straight line. And then just do. So yeah, that's the American colony done. And regarding the other colonies, I'm tired. I'm just gonna draw whatever looks good. They're gonna be keeping these territories white. I'm just gonna draw random borders. I am getting a bit tired. It is 10:05 right now. PM, not AM. So yeah, I'm just gonna start to draw getting progressively larger nations. Also, there's like 50 nations here. Good job, me. You single-handedly made like a whole continent of. Obviously, I made a continent. You made a whole bunch of nations. There would have been like upwards of 100 if I didn't like let the let the colonizers keep land. So yeah, if I didn't let any colonizer keep any land, this would be a lot more complicated and it would take a lot longer, and I'd be a lot more tired. and I would also not be done now, which I am. So yeah, that is the end of the video. Hope you guys liked it. If you did, then please like and subscribe, because I kind of want you guys to, because I'm trying to get to 350 by the end of the year. Yeah, and lastly, before we end this scenario, how about we start off where we left off? Goodbye.